All right, welcome back, everybody. My name's Adamental. Welcome again to my studio. Here's another video, just sharing with you my love of hip-hop and beat making, all the production stuff I've done all my life. You'll notice the windscreen's missing off this mic. I keep knocking it off. I need to re-glue the end off. It keeps giving me issues. Anyway, I have a lot of songs from the old days that I never shared with the world, that I wrote back in my early 20s, right? Like, I'm in my late 40s now, and I'm a completely different person. I have completely different perspective on the world than I used to have when I was in my 20s. And, I came out of university, and as a young adult, I fell away from my faith in God and ended up going into the rap world and kind of rolling with all the wrong people and getting sucked into that sex, drugs, and rock and roll type lifestyle that, you've heard so many others go through. And anyway, I have a lot of songs from those days that I'm not really proud of. I mean, I'm kind of proud of them because I was still a great rapper back in my 20s, but I just wasn't as mature and I didn't have the same perspective as I do now. And, now I write all my music for God, and I write Christian music that I'll feel proud of on my judgment day. Like, I don't write music to try and win, to win the spotlight or to be about me or to be like ego driven. Like, I got all that out of me when I was in my 20s and 30s. And I have a lot of songs from those days that I never released, right? They're not on the digital storefronts. They're not on Spotify. They're not on Apple Music. I haven't released them on YouTube. They've been sitting on my hard drive for the last 25 years or 20 years or however long since I wrote them. And the one I want to share tonight is called Strong. And it's a song about how when you get older, your heart turns hard as you realize how brutal and unforgiving the world is. And it's part of the journey of growing up. Like, when you're young, you have a tender heart, and then your heart gets kind of beat into the ground when you realize how brutal this world really is. And that hardness is just part of the journey of growing up. And I call this song Strong. And I wrote it in 2004 when I was 27. I haven't listened to it in, 5 years or something, but I never released this on my first album. It was the best song I had in my library at the time when I released my 2013 album, State of Mind, when I was 36. But this is a song I wrote when I was 27. It was sitting in the vault. And I remember writing it back before my first daughter was born, when we lived at the apartment on Lincoln with just my wife and my dog. And I was still struggling with, being on my own and trying to find a job and trying to find my way in this world. And I remember writing this song and sending it to my rap partner at the time, and he was like, damn. Anyway, I've been really feeling that way lately, so I thought this is the perfect song to review. So let's check it out. I'll bring up the lyric.
Life has changed as I've grown older. My heart becomes cold, but I just shrug my shoulders and keep it moving each day, steadily towards my goals. Time takes its toll on my soul, but I never fold. I used to have faith and believe in people. I was curious, optimistic, and peaceful, but with time I've grown hard, cause this world is straight lethal. It once shocked me to see the way the world will treat you, but I've become numb to defend myself. I built a wall around me to protect my mental health, cause I know that nobody's looking out for me. I can't trust nobody in this life but me. It's every man for itself, nothing is free. I ain't being cynical, man, this is reality. I wish it weren't the case, I really do, but it's like, if you ain't gonna help me, then fuck you. Every day's a struggle in this life I lead. I could beg and plead and let my heart bleed, but you would just ignore me, you move along. And now I'm like you, I've become strong. Now I'm like you, I've become strong. Now I'm like you, I've become raw. My heart is hard and my living is wrong, but now I'm like you, I've become strong. I try to be a good person, but it's tough, cause everybody trying their luck with bluffs, trying to manipulate me and take advantage. But I won't give in, my mental's at a higher point of vantage. I'm not into vengeance, and teaching difficult lessons. I won't succumb to depression. I have too many blessings to count, although I wanna shout and go around with a pout. I hold to an island of faith in a sea of doubt, but still it's so hard trying to keep my head up. It makes me wanna go home and slam the door shut. I'm trying to overcome the influence that this is having on me, but some things I just can't help believe, cause everything that you've seen, this planet's full of evil, it's obscene. I walk around the streets with a face that's mean, longing for a life that's more serene, but it's just a dream. Every day's a struggle in this life I lead. I could beg and plead and let my heart bleed, but you would just ignore me and move along. And now I'm like you, I've become strong. Now I'm like you, I've become strong. Now I'm like you, I've become raw. My heart is hard and my living is wrong, but now I'm like you, I've become strong.
Whew, man. Does that ever bring me back? And it kind of blows my mind that I wrote that over, what was it? Over 20 years ago. I wrote that 21 years ago. And boy, does that ever resonate with me now. I mean, I don't, but the only problem with this is that it comes from a position of no faith, like a position of doubt, of being alone. And I know a lot of people feel that way. And then part of why they struggle with having faith in God. And I think even Christians struggle with that, right? Because at the end of the day, it's faith, but it's a living faith. And it isn't based on nothing. It's based on a lot of reason. In fact, I think it takes more faith to not believe in God. But at the end of the day, I said, nobody's looking out for me, right? And that's how it felt when I first left, my childhood and went into the working world. And you're out on your own and trying to figure out how to survive. And if you have parents that love you, they'll be there and help you. And I mean, I do. I'm not trying to say anything bad against my parents at all. I just I think it's a tough and rude awakening for a lot of young men when they first move out and start up life on their own, and you just really feel like the awesomeness of the responsibility that you have. And I've now been living with that most of my life, right? I mean, I moved out of my parents' house when I was 19, went to university for 5 years, came back, married my wife in 2003, and it's now 2025. So, like, I've been with my wife 27 years now, which is more than half of my life, right? So, this was emotions I struggled with at the time that I was embarking on that journey. But now, fast forward, and I'm almost 50, and boy, does this still resonate, right? And that's what I do with my music. I try to write like universal lyrics that are timeless, that apply no matter what time you listen to them. And here I am, 21 years later, and this song still hits for me. But this is, like I said, coming from a place of bitterness. And one of the pieces I think that really resonates with me in this song is towards the end here. It makes me want to go home and slam the door shut. I'm trying to overcome the influence that this is having on me, but some things you just can't help believe, because everything that you've seen, this planet's full of evil, it's obscene. I walk around the streets with a face that's mean, longing for a life that's more serene, but it's just a dream. Sad, even the part about walking around the street with a face that's mean, that just kicked in for me this year in a way it's never kicked in before. Like I've been trying really hard to give the next person the benefit of the doubt and not go around with a scowl on my face expecting to run into the enemy. But that seems to have changed recently, and I think that I'm just so worn out from all the abuse over the course of my life, all the people that have screwed me and betrayed me, how hostile society is, how nobody cares, and people that you trust betray you. I've been through a lot, and it's hard to maintain a posture of forgiveness. It's hard to maintain a posture of, it's all good. I'm just full of love. Come, No, the walls come up because it's trauma, it's abuse. And you don't forget that, but we need to forgive it and not, even if the person doesn't apologize or even care that they hurt you. It's for your own mental health and for your own freedom and release that you have to forgive that person as an act of the will. My mom always says, take it to God and just say, Lord, I choose to forgive this person, even though I don't feel it, because I don't want to keep dwelling on the things in my past that have haunted me. I want to move on and be free. And the Bible says that, that the same judgment and unforgiveness you apply to others will be applied to you, right? So, we forgive ourselves every time we screw up. We get up the next day and we feel horrible about the things we did, and we look in the mirror and we choose to forgive ourselves and move on and keep living with ourselves. And we have to try and do that with other people. That's what C.S. Lewis said, and that's what the Bible teaches. I find the hard part about Jesus teaching, do not resist an evil person, but turn your other cheek. I don't know that I can do that, if I'm being perfectly honest as a Christian, especially with how corrupt the world has become, especially up here in Canada. Like, there is some serious, serious evil out there. And as the provider and protector of my family, as the father and husband, it is my job to be the shield and protect my family. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to resist the evil person. And I've really reached the place where I can't turn the other cheek anymore. I just can't. I've taken enough. I've had enough. And so this lyric, when I talk about, I walk around the streets with a face that's mean. Oh boy. Yeah, I do now. And it's not an act. Although, yeah, my general posture when out in public is I want to scare people away so they don't mess with me. But when I have this frown on my face, this isn't an act to try and scare you away. This is now how I feel all the time, and I don't like it. And so, as a Christian, I'm praying to God to heal me and to soften my heart again. And I think that I need that. But I also don't think that Christians have to keep taking abuse. Like, you can forgive a person, but you can still cut them out of your life and not let them get to you anymore and hurt you anymore and hold you down anymore and traumatize you and drain all of your energy and basically keep you from your purpose by stealing your peace and not allowing you to move on with your life. I won't allow people to come in and disturb my peace anymore. I've had enough of that. And I've had enough people come in and try to do sales jobs on me that I'm now really cynical and hard from the start. And I struggle to give the next person the benefit of the chance. I've actually reached this place where you get one chance now. I've given too many people second chances. And I know the Bible says forgive 7 times 77. Fine, I will forgive. But that doesn't mean the relationship needs to continue. And it doesn't mean I need to continue to subject myself to further abuse. Yes, I've become hard. Yes, I've become strong. And now I stand on my own too. And I protect not only the family that I'm responsible for, but my own circle of peace. Nobody's coming in to shatter that. So I really thought it was time to come and sit down, and I thought this was the perfect song to cover, and I'm sorry for the wind blast. My mic needs the wind cover. But what a perfect song to cover, at this stage in my life. And if that resonates with you, I plan to do a lot more videos, cover a lot more songs, and give you my philosophical, biblical, old man wisdom point of view on things to the best of my ability. I'm not perfect. I don't think I have all the answers, but I have been around. I've lived a while now, and I just want to share my perspective. And I'd love to open up the dialogue. So leave your story in the comments. I'd love to hear your story, and let's talk about it. We all go through it. Anyway, until next time.